Action activate!
Here we come, there they go. Evil runs, 'cause they know we're super soldiers. We got cool clothes. You real smooth when you see our pose. Action, energize, mask on. Time to ride. Combine, grease ties.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's time for soaking in some energy and getting some solar radiation and flipping on your henshin device because it's time to action activate. I am Gazbot, better known here as the Gazbot Knight, and with me as always is...
The Big Dawg Defender.
That's right. How you doing today, Bigdawg?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Well indeed. I have a new light right here. I have a little teeny light. It's a new one. It's a circle, so there's
There's
that.
a little bit going on. I have, since the last show, obviously looking back at a lot of Mighty Morphin stuff, my sister and I were doing some cleaning, and she actually found somewhere tucked in a thing of family photos.
Yes.
This little gem right here.
Oh boy, let's see. Get your kicks at a party. Oh, and it's got your address. I hope that's not your real phone number and address you're showing us.
Nope, none of these. 'cause
Okay,
this
good.
is outdated as heck from 1995.
Okay.
But I'm sorry all of you weren't invited at the time, but I did have a Power Ranger party in 1995
That's pretty fantastic.
that we now
That's
know about.
amazing. Let's see. In the chat, we got Arizuki and Matt Kendall Clare. Arizuki is into the sweet intro music. And then both.
Silence.
And then Arizuki finishes. Words have no meaning on a planet under the Cape of War. Matt Kendall Clare. Hey, everyone. I'm here. Didn't get too distracted watching TV. Nice. Thanks for showing up, Dolly Girl. Hello to everybody who's here presently and those that will be here in the future. Let me go. Oh, is that a one shot? We got a two shot. Let's go to the Ranger show shot. Boom. There it is. All right. So we are working on part 2 of an episode we did last time, and my slideshow is not opening. So why don't you tell them about what we were doing and what we're going to do?
So last week we thought about doing a little throwback since we're toward the end of the hiatus for Beast Morphers and do a review of one of the previous kind of mashup team-ups of Mighty Morphin Pass. So we're following the 3-episode arc called A Friend in Need, which is the backdoor pilot for Masked Rider, which lasted a whole one season back in the 90s on Fox Kids. But it definitely gives us an appreciation for some of the episodes and characters we've seen. And similar to Trolls 2, gives us just something so terrible that it's great.
Wow. I appreciate the Trolls 2 reference, but I don't think comparing this like value-wise, quality-wise is very fair.
You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
What I was going to say is similar to Trolls 2. It gives us the line, as you can see in the chat right now, silence. Words have no meaning under the cave, on a planet under the Cave of War.
Yeah.
Which, side note, has been shared throughout my team at work. So I have at least 6 people now where if we say silence, they know the rest of the line. So I've done my part. Hopefully you're all
I've been spreading it around.
word.
Certainly in my household, I don't have a day job to go to, but anyone I encounter, I've thrown it out as much as possible. The Real Babu says I Googled Under the Cape of War and couldn't find anything. So I guess it officially is just some bizarre saying they made up for Edenoi people that they say. Related, I wasn't able to get the video completely done. Let me go to the Power Ranger show, but I did start working on a new piece of art that I will share. The art is done, but the video is not. Let me put it up right here. Boop. So, oh wow, that's like halfway done.
Oh.
Let me restart that. Boop. All right, there we go. So, spoilers, it is Masked Rider or Kamen Rider Black RX, however you want to consider that character. So I actually finished the art, but what I normally do is I'll take the videos, put them together, compress it to be about an hour, and then put it up here. Didn't have time to do that. So what you're going to see is real time the first hour and 20 minutes or so I'm working on it. But I plan on doing a version, yes, that has our favorite quote, which I misquoted in there. I actually said silence words have no meaning on a world caped in war, which is totally wrong and ridiculous. Who would say such a thing? But so that'll be going up there in honor of this show, and eventually it'll be done. And I was thinking I might even make it up to sell some prints of, potentially, if people are interested in that
please do.
version. Well, I'll definitely make a Masked Rider headshot to go with my Power Ranger headshots. But if there's enough interest, I might make a print for the Action Activate fans specifically.
Maybe you could use it for a potential Ranger-related con you would go to as maybe an exclusive of some sort.
Possibly. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's see. Let me check chat real quick. Everybody's saying hello to everybody, and Airzuki is disgusted with our not getting it together with the quote. We do have news, but as we said before, we're going to do news at the end of the show. So unless there's anything else, let's jump into the review that we were started last time.
Just kind of to get everybody on the same page. I know we had talked about part of episode 2. Yep. We ended with them still in the cave, correct?
No. We ended with a rider kick. Here, I'll back up a few so we can
yeah, that's right. The weird toad monsters.
They were having the battle. There was the big hero shot, and then they started the fight. And so Masked Rider decided to fight the toad monsters, and everyone else, with this awesome kick from Tommy, everyone else was fighting the Plague Riders, I believe they were called. Plague Patrol, thank you. And we literally stopped because Masked Rider did a rider kick, which is a very common rider thing to do. And we're like, oh, that was cool. And that's where we stopped. So this right here is the first new image as of this review that we're doing. So they're mid-battle. And I know that's a stuntman, but it looks like he's about to break his neck when he lands.
Oh, I know. Just the shoulders have a lot more padding than you think right here on that little meaty part. Having fallen that way many times in my day.
Okay, fair enough. For those that don't know, the Bigdawg does have some martial arts background.
Just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit.
Many moons ago, older than the show. But so one thing I found funny that you pointed out in the last show is in the freeze frames, especially seeing just how dirty the white portions of the Ranger suits get is something. When I rewatched episode 2 and 3 over the weekend just to refresh, and I was looking for those, and I was like, oh yeah, those are like really dirty, which is cool. And then I noticed like somebody would get thrown, and really quick when they get up, I'm like, oh, did it scuff? Oh no, they still look okay.
Oh, Match Star, thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was like that one shot I had last time of the hand with that was almost black. That was the worst, but you're right. It's definitely a recurring theme of this fight. And okay, so we cut another recurring theme of this whole storyline is cutting back and forth between scenes. So in the middle of the fight, we cut back to Alpha, and of course he's saying something like, "Oh, I believe there might be trouble. Perhaps we should deal with it." Very calmly.
Zordon, nah, just let him be. Are you saying you don't trust the Rangers, Alpha? Psh, get out of here. They're fine. Don't worry about them.
And I don't. Yeah, and immediately we then cut back to the Moon Palace where they're dealing with this monster who I've already forgotten the name of. Do you remember the green monster?
Oh, something Tor.
Sniffletor or something?
No, it was
Licator.
Maybe it was Licator.
Yeah, I completely forget. But they're talking to him, and they're like, and he's like,
Repellitor.
Repellitor. There you go. Perfect. Thank you, Matt Kendall Clare. And so, yeah, again, I was talking about how I thought this might be an American-only monster, and I think it wasn't American-only, but it was repurposed from previous footage, and so they had the suit there and everything. But, like, the fact that it went down and then they're talking to it, like, there's just a lot more interaction as a character than the usual Monster of the Weeks get. He's almost, like, if I didn't know, like, if this was a current show, I'd be like, oh, I guess this is going to be, like, a new cast member. He's going to, like, live in the castle with them because they give him so much screen time. I think here he had like licked Rita's like hand or something.
Oh yeah, and there was like Jello they put on.
Yeah,
it. Really weird.
I didn't get a shot of it, but not lovely. Erzuki laughing at me saying Licator, Repellitor, Licator,
Similar but different.
Real Babu is not sharing his room with him. Fair enough. I always assumed Babu and Squat shared a room. Maybe not, but that was my imagination. That
my headcanon is bunk beds.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Perfect. Me too. So we come back to the command center. I just really like this shot. I love the gadgetry and stuff, and I just thought this was a really cool shot of the panel. And then once again, I know what it was. I remember what was going on here because I had a note about it. The Repellitor is coming down to Earth. So this is the alarm. And they're like, oh, we better contact the Power Rangers, Anidnoi. And they're having trouble contacting them. And so we get up here. We see Tommy's fighting Anidnoi. Zordon's like, Tommy, blah, 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 blah. And, oh no, sorry, I skipped ahead. Tommy, blah, 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 we can't reach him. And this bothered me because I made a note right here. I said, the communicators, in the beginning of the first part where they're going to go to Edenoid. They said two things. There were like two, like, hey, things we got to think about. One was Zordon said, hey, you're not going to be at full power. Your power level is going to be low. It's going to be a problem. Be careful. And they specifically said, will the communicators work? And they go, not only will they work, but like they're going to work extra good because Billy just boosted them up. So no problem. Now, we're an episode and a half in. There has been no mention of the Power Rangers having not enough power or being at not full strength or whatever.
Yeah.
And we know how that works. We've seen it with Tommy and others where they're like, oh, I got to take it easier. I got knocked out of my morph too soon. Not seen that at all. But now that they need to use communications, it immediately doesn't work. And it wouldn't have bothered me if they didn't say, will it work? Yes, it'll work better than ever. Why did they say that? They could have just said, oh, they're so far away, we can't reach them. Wouldn't have bothered me at all.
I think the only way they could have easily gotten past that is if they said that the ship or the Plague Patrol or some reason the gas is jamming the freezer. Just a throwaway line to be like, yes, we're not contradicting ourselves here.
But again, it was more that there was an unnecessary buildup of how good the communication was. And again, couple that with the fact that they said, but your powers won't work as strongly, and there has been no indication that their powers are not working properly.
I think the only reason that line's in there is so Mask Rider can beat them. Like in the fight.
But he never does beat them.
I mean, he theoretically holds off Rocky and Tommy long enough to prove that he would be stronger than each individual.
Right, but that kind of goes against what you were saying last week of like, oh, they did set him up to be strong. But if the idea is that they're at like lower power, then at low power, okay, whatever. But anyway, the communication should work.
Season. I want to remind you, one season. All
right. The real bad boost is, I'm not sure. Oh, no, you said that. Definitely bunk beds. It leaves so much room for activities.
Nice line.
And Matt Claire, Repeltor was repurposed of Silverhorns, a Gorma monster from Die Ranger, MMPR Season 2, the blue. Okay, it was the lick thing. So it was a Die Ranger monster repurposed to be Mighty Morphin Season 2. Thank you, Matt Claire.
It is funny that same suit is used for the power transfer when we get new Rangers and the backdoor pilot to a completely other Sentai.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe it's just that they had this. Well, no, because they would have had other suits too. Yeah, that's probably just coincidence, but that's interesting.
It is, yeah.
So they can't get in touch with the other Rangers, so they cut back to Kimberly, who we established last time had stayed home because she had other career commitments and couldn't be in the show the full time, so she was sick in bed. And then, well, we assume she had other career commitments.
Well, we know why she's sick in bed. Look at that orange juice.
She's not drinking it.
She's not staying hydrated.
She does not have enough vitamin C and hydration in her system now.
She clearly doesn't want to fight this monster.
or any monster. So I did like this, though. She gets up, then she's like, it's morphin time in her like pajamas, all sick. I thought that was kind of funny. But then, as usual, it cuts to like her outside immediately, which is fine because she could teleport. Yeah. I don't normally mind. For those that don't know, the Sentai actors or even the American actors, suit actors, sometimes men portray women. Like, it'll be a man in the suit portraying a female character. And whatever, however they get the job done, that's fine. And usually it doesn't bother me. Usually it's not that noticeable. But for some reason, this time, it was really obvious to me that this was not Kimberly in the suit. More than any other time. I don't know if it's because it's American footage and it was when they first started doing American footage or what. But I don't know. I don't know if you noticed that as much. But
I think it's the angles.
You think that's what it is?
The angles and maybe even the kind of cameras or the lens they're using. Like, when I see it, I see very like American shots for this versus
that's true. Yes.
With the Sentai, obviously it's very stylistic differently, which is why I think because we had that extra time to focus, we noticed the inconsistencies versus when they kind of edit it really well to see them in action and not really notice those little nuances.
True. And to be fair to the production and everybody involved, these were not meant to be scrutinized frame by frame by adults 20 years later, 30 years later. So, but these are just the things you notice. So she's fighting, but she immediately sneezes, and it made me think. We talked about Aisha's hair magically going up into the helmet. I hope there's some kind of other dimension of space in there, because otherwise she sneezes.
Oh, I just imagined like the dirtiest windshield I've ever seen, and just like trying to see through it.
No, thank you. So, but she's being a trooper and she's fighting, and they're in the sandbox.
Being a ranger.
She's being a Beetleborg, and here's another
very
shot.
Borg-like right now, rider-centric.
Here's another shot that made me think it probably wasn't her. You could see that biceps bulging
Oh,
out.
I was
like,
thinking the
it's
same
like,
thing.
"Oh, I'm Kimberly. Like,
Oh.
and not that she's not in good shape, but I didn't. It doesn't read as her physique.
I'll
to me.
take down this monster, brother.
And then she sneezes again. And this I thought was funny. She sneezes in his face, right? And he's like, "Ugh, I don't sneeze in my face." And for a few reasons, that seemed odd to me. One, he talks about he's Repeltor. He's gross. Everything's gross. I lick stuff. I'm not scared of anything. He's the gross monster. And two, as we just established, she has a helmet. If anything comes out, it's stopping right here.
I know.
So
it frustrated me as a huge I don't know why they chose to do what they did for this part. If she's going to be sick and she gets beaten by herself because she's sick,
sure,
whatever.
yeah,
totally fine. But when she is making the monster sick by sneezing on them when they are the gross monster through a helmet,
right.
I'm out. I'm sorry. I don't care if I'm 3. I don't care if I'm the current age I am now. It's irrelevant to me.
It was just a little bit silly, even for the silliness that we normally endure here. Let's see. Repeltor. Bill Babu says there were female putties too. Well, that makes sense. I mean, like again, I don't care, male, female doing whatever job. It just, I did notice that this did not look like Kimberly. That was the main thing. Erzuki said maybe we should assume the helmets have advanced filtration and HEPA filter systems that vent the air out somewhere so we don't need to see. Well, that would explain also how. Well, no, if it was filtered though, then the germs wouldn't get through the Repeltor.
Yeah, it'd be stuck in the little filter.
I'm going with magic dimension. She sneezes and it's like it's like
that pocket dimension.
Yeah, the same way in like later seasons you'll sometimes see like a shot of the Ranger in the helmet, and it's like there's a little light visor, but you can see their whole face. So I imagine it being like there's like 30 feet around them. It's very spacious. So she just sneezes and it goes off. But she continues sneezing. And Repeltor uses this move on her. I forget what he calls it, but it's like this crazy space warp.
Yeah, it's like a molecule scrambler.
Yes. I liked it though. I liked this effect. Obviously, it's sort of an easy to do video effect, especially by today's standards. But I hadn't seen it on the show before, and it was like borderline disturbing. It's just like, and she's like, "Oh, I'm back together." Like, I don't know. It made me think of like old Vertigo comics or like weird magic, like not your normal supervillain kind of attack.
I was very conflicted on it because on the one hand, I think it is awesome. On the other hand, I'm like, if you could do this, how did this episode play out the way it did?
Well,
she's just shaking the molecules until it's like, and then she demorphs.
Until it becomes a putty? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's it. The fact that she didn't demorph was one of my bigger pet peeves because it's like, you're already sick, all right? I don't know how you're keeping these powers together to begin with.
Right. Well, demorphing has always been inconsistent throughout the entire show up to this day. There's never been a clear line of when and why they demorph. So
you just know if they demorph, it's bad.
Right. And I agree with you that, maybe she should have, but that's like, it's not worth nitpicking that because it never makes sense.
I mean, she already sneezed on him through the helmet. We're already, out the window with the logic right now.
Matt Kendall Clear says it's the molecular scrambler. And he liked the effect too. What about Tengas? And he's asking about the real Babu about Tengas if they were female or male actors. Repeltor doesn't understand HEPA filters, says Erzuki. The real Babu. By then this is regarding the Tengas. By then it was all Alpha Team as the stunt people, all the Japanese men, as far as I remember. So more behind the scenes from the real Babu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so this was the end of episode 2 with the To Be Continued, where she gets scrambled and it's like, whoa, here I am looking like pretty buff. And just like the end of last episode, here comes Tommy again. Confidence.
Hey,
what else is important? Attitude. Is that it, or is there one more? Self-respect. And then I think it was just, that was it. It was just, the last one was talking a little bit more about stuff. This one was just like listing more. It was like part 2 of the end cap from the first one, where it's just a clip of Tommy's video. It's just, again, weird that it didn't really advertise the video or really teach you anything, because it's like 10 seconds, like self-respect, this, and this.
I believe it taught us a couple things. If you remember from last week, what's most important?
Your brain.
Your mind.
Yes.
Your mind. And then what do you use your mind for? Your attitude.
And confidence.
Your confidence.
Sure.
And your self-respect.
I appreciate you trying to justify this, but it makes me think of like
I'm not at all.
old,
I am being
like
completely sarcastic.
I
right
understand,
now.
but you're trying to. There's a way you could make it make sense, maybe somehow. I don't know, but it makes me think in the '80s they had a lot of this, and in the '90s too, where like they had a GI Joe or He-Man or something, they'd have a little lesson, and it was cheesy. It was totally cheesy, but they would make a lesson. They'd say, "Hey, it's lesson time. Hey, you shouldn't play around electric wires. You're gonna get shocked, and here's why." And then it's done. And they were dumb, but the kid knew. Oh, they don't want me to play around electric wires. And you got like a minute on that one message. This is like, hey, by the way, learn karate and self-respect and discipline, and your mind is important. And they're just like throwing this at you while the music's playing and the credits for like, the 15 seconds before the next cartoon comes on. It just seemed oddly like frantic and overly ambitious for what they could do at the time.
On a completely weird side tangent for a
Yes.
sec, have you ever watched dubbed versions of those PSAs?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, they're so funny.
Yeah. The GI Joe PSAs he's talking about, if you go online, you can find dub versions where they completely change them around. And Mr. Bottom Saw's machine. We've been neglecting chat a little bit here. Let me see. Matt Kendall Claire.
Oh no,
we got it. Okay, the more you know, Real Babu, the more you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
You know what the other half is?
Joe.
Blue lasers and red lasers. Okay, so A Friend in Need Part 3. So we cut right back into Kimberly fighting Repellitor, and Alpha's like, oh, I'm mildly concerned because she's sick and she's fighting this monster by herself. Do you think she'll be okay? And Zordon's, of course, like, she'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. It's all okay. I'm Zordon, and I'm here to tell you that a hands-off approach to parenting is how I like to do it. I'm their parent now.
I will say, I just imagine Zordon, since we only see his head, just lounging on the couch, not wanting to be bothered, like, they're fine. Are you saying you don't trust them? Okay, they're fine. Yeah. Just, hey, Alpha, they're fine. Okay.
So, Alpha, confidence, self-respect. She'll use her mind.
What should you use? Oh, you're a robot. I forgot. Jeez. Bad guy Zordon.
So then Zordon. Bad dad Zordon. So then we get back to the fight. She's sneezing, and she is feeling it, but now he's sneezing. This is where he gets upset. So not only did she sneeze through the helmet, get him sick, which she shouldn't have been able to do for multiple reasons, but he gets sick immediately. If you sneeze on me, it'll take a few hours, a day before I get sick. But Repellitor, the evil, gross monster, it's kind of like War of the Worlds, where human germs are just too much for him. She sneezes on him, and instantly he's sick. And this is more of that green effect I was talking about that made me think it was an American villain, or at least we know it's American footage because it's this weird video green effect that we saw more there. Now, this is where they finally get the communication through, I believe. Alpha did something, flipped some switch, and now they're actually receiving communication from Zordon. But it wasn't a thing where, like, run right back. They're saying, Repellitor is going to be back, so we're going to need you. So, like, come back when you can. So then they do a double jump kick, which is pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. And now Repellitor's back on the base. Again, more character development for the Monster of the Week that we'd never see again. And he comes up and he's sick. And they're like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm sick. And so they tell Finster to heal him. Now, here's an interesting note I made about Finster. I forget if it was Zed or Rita, said something to him about, they insulted him like, hey, termite brain or something like that. Is Finster supposed to be made of wood? Is he like Groot? Because they specifically said termites to him, which made me think that's like, but that's only really an insult if you're made of wood. It only makes sense if he's made of wood. I never really much thought about what he was. He's just like a monster. But like his face could be bark-like. So is he? The real Babu says yes, but I don't know if he just said that. Real Babu, are you saying yes to Finster being wood, or is that to something else? I didn't see that. He's part tree.
Ooh!
Look at that. We are learning things. Finster is part tree.
Jeez, you should do the knowledge zone right now.
Well, I only kind of half do it. I got it. It's me and the real Babu.
Do it really quick, a one shot. No,
my knowledge is the thing you got to know about Finster. Hold on, let me check chat. He's part tree.
Mic drop.
Yeah, mine's weaker. I have to consult my find a friend, phone
Just
a friend.
Just remember, you always have to give yourself that closed caption.
I don't think I did close enough. Let me do it again. Okay. Hey guys, the thing you might not know about Finster, he's part tree.
Much better.
Thank you. I have to work at it. You're much more often the one doing it, so you're a pro at it.
What I will say is I apologize to everybody who's ever watched me do that. It's a bit alarming.
Yes, yeah.
Very in there.
All right, so yeah, but well, I'm glad I noticed that, and I'm glad it has been confirmed.
That is cool. Okay.
Yeah. Arizuki says Gazbot knowledge zone. Zoom into his nose. And Matt thinks we are funny. Thank you for thinking our
Thank you,
stupidity
Matt.
is
You're
funny.
very kind.
All right, so we cut back to the battle in Edenoi, and
That's a great shot.
that is a great shot. It's such a classic, and it's an American shot, but it's still just that like classic. I can't even get it on camera.
You know my affinity for the Red Ranger, so that's
Yeah.
why for me I'm like, even though Rocky wasn't my favorite, he's got that posed up real good.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, Rocky's good. Rocky's fine. We don't need to. Oh, okay. Back to the Vulcan skull plot. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
So for those that missed the first episode of our show, they had a plan. They wanted to impress these girls who liked the Power Rangers, so they made it seem like they knew where the Power Rangers were going to show up. They told them to go here, and now they're dressing as the Power Rangers to make them think they are Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Flawless. They're powerful Rangers. So here they are. They're getting ready. And then, but we cut back before the action happens. So they're like, hey, Bulky, we're getting ready. Shut up, idiot. Like, put your helmet on. And then immediately we go back to Finster. And now here we have Finster, who's part tree, and he is healing Repellitor. He's giving him an actual checkup. Like, again, this is a monster of the week. It blows my mind. We never see this.
I just thought of something, by the way, about
yes.
your tree theory.
Well, it's not a theory. It's confirmed by the real Babu.
I was going to say / confirmation.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the way his hair is, it's almost like a bulb of like a flower or a seed.
Let me go back. Yes, it absolutely is. And
So-
I didn't notice that, so good call on that. I was talking about like the
Knowledge.
hair on his face. The hair on his face. Like I always thought it was just like he's a monster. It's a rubber mask, whatever. But it does look like it's not hair so much as like
yeah, just very
bark.
crafted.
Yeah. Mechanical, that was weird at Finster's workshop. Not often we see original footage of it. Yeah, agreed. And so he gives him a tongue depressor. He pulls out this thing. He's going to give him this again. It's so odd to me. I didn't dislike it. It was just so unusual. He's going to give him a shot, and he's like, "I'll give you this shot, and then you'll feel better." And the monster's like, I don't like shots. And Finster, all evil monsters that are just trying to take over the world here, and knowing that this monster's probably going to be destroyed in a few hours, says, "Oh, okay, don't worry about it. I have some pills. You can take the pills instead." Like he's catering. He's like being a good doctor. Like he's worried about the feelings of his patient. It's so odd.
I'm so confused by this whole scene just because at the end of it, it's like, oh, so what's up? Oh, well, you should probably rest for a week to a week and a half and drink a lot of fluids.
Yeah.
And then 2 seconds later, Zed's like, all right, is he good? Back out there.
Right. Me too. It's this weird, like, we really care and we want to make him better. We don't even want to give him a needle because that'll hurt him too much. And then if he doesn't rest, he won't get better. And then immediately back out to fight. It was so odd. I didn't get a shot of it, but this pill, the jar he has it in, it said something like Finster's funny tummy tums or something like that. And I just, some prop person had fun doing that. So and also
sugar cubes just chilling in there.
Well, but the label though. So again, it was clearly American footage,
I
know. They all kind of look like that, which kind of makes me think of urinal cakes. You know what I mean? Like maybe they just bought some urinal cakes like for
just
cleaning
toilets.
toilets.
Or like, they actually might look like those soaps that are wrapped up that you get at a hotel.
That too,
The
yeah.
hand soaps,
Because they basically just like really big discs, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Real Babu said there is some concept art of Finster that shows very small branches with a leaf or two coming out of his head. Oh, nice. That makes sense. Yeah,
Maybe that's what he's keeping down with his little bandana.
Yeah, and I'm also like now I don't know if I'm imagining things, but on his ears it almost looks like
It
there's
looks
little
like
leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things that's really obvious, but just somehow like if you know it, it's really obvious. But if you didn't think about it, like. I mean, I feel like I'm just gratified that I'm not the only one that didn't realize it. It's not like everyone's like, yeah, you idiot, he's a tree.
Yeah, I didn't watch Zoo Ranger, so I'm giving myself that out of I didn't see him as much.
Fair enough. All right, so we cut back from the lovely, medical ministrations of Finster, who's also an artist and a scientist. Finster's a Renaissance tree is what he is. He could do it all.
He's got the Benjamin Franklin half glasses right here.
Yeah.
He's just ready for business.
He's doing all of it. So we cut back. These are the girls that Bulk and Skull were trying to impress. For some reason, she reminds me of Olivia Wilde. I don't know exactly what it is, but...
Oh, I was going to say she reminds me of...
Colby Smothers.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Did I say her name right?
I think
Colby
it's Smolders or
from How I Met Your Mother, and then Avengers as the agent.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's actually who I meant to
As
say.
Maria Hill, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 99.9% sure it is not her, but I
Oh,
never.
I know it's not her.
Okay,
The
good.
age doesn't work out.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But yeah, so there's those guys showing up, and they're like, fair enough that they're like, where are the Rangers? But like, they show up, and they're like, oh, we heard the Rangers are going to be here based on a rumored tip. And they show up and look around like, where are they? It's supposed to be here. What's going on? And they seem really annoyed, as though it was like a meet and greet where they had a ticket to be there at 8 o'clock. Like even if this is correct info, it's not. It's just such a weird.
I'm very put upon that you guys aren't here based on the rumor I heard.
Right, it was very odd. But so they hear them, they're like, okay, let's get going, and they put their helmets on. And I will say, accuracy to what the Power Rangers look like, not very good. Quality of suits they made in an afternoon, astonishingly good.
Pretty great, yeah.
I mean, they match each other, even if they don't match the Rangers. Well done, you guys.
Yeah, I could barely do like a makeshift Halloween costume in multiple months, and they're just like, sequence,
Put it right together.
diamond.
Let me see. That was weird. Some kind of... Arizuki says, I did watch Zoo Ranger and don't remember them making it clear he was a tree in that either. He was just what he was. No need to make a big deal, I guess. Yeah, I also watched Zoo Ranger and I didn't remember. So, Diane Glitter, hey, stopping in to say hi. Hello to you.
Howdy.
Always fine to pop in and say hi. All right, so Bulk and Skull are there. They're like, oh, we're the... And they're like, you're the Rangers. And I will also say that as bad a likeness as Bulk and Skull did, the fact that these two, for even a second, like they didn't go, no, you're not, and walk away. They're like, wait a minute. I don't really? Are you? So
they entertain the idea.
Yeah.
They're like, prove me wrong.
Right. And then the monster shows up behind them right as he takes his helmet off. So it sort of ruins their ruse because obviously they're not going to fight the monster, but it also makes them seem more realistic because, oh, the Power Rangers showed up to fight a monster. And this I pause just because face acting.
I know. Where it all started.
Yeah, that's absolutely where it all started. And then this was such a surreal shot to me, where they just run to their car, which I don't know, it's some standard 90s Honda, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then the monster and Bulk and Skull, and it just... It's so... Like, the comedy of it for me was less about what was scripted and more about... This is just like a parking lot with a car and a guy in a monster suit chasing around the actors. Like it seemed so out of, like it was, like you're talking about the American footage. Like this is the most American footage there is. It was so ridiculous, but enjoyable. And Bulk and Skull doing their antics made it fun. But while that's happening, before we resolve it, we cut back. And this is Masked Rider getting his sword
saber.
Right, that he pulls out of his like belt.
Yeah, so it's got the two eyes, and then whenever he pulls something out, it...
Holy cow, I just realized his belt has two red circles, and he it does his henshin, and the belt touches and it kind of flies around. Those are supposed to become his red Masked Rider eyes? Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, they're very similar. That's why they're all googly looking.
It makes so much sense, but I remember thinking it's weird that his belt looks the way it does and flies up. Like I was more concerned with the odd transformation sequence, but yeah. So he pulls out this sword, which I forget the name of. I think it's like an electro sword. Electro Saber. Oh, Matt Leclerc hit it before he even did. Electro Saber, activate! I don't know if he did, but he does now. He also says action activate. He says Electro Saber, action activate! That's where it all started. People have been copying us.
To
the power. So he pulls the saber out. I will say, I think the saber's awesome. I think it's cool.
The saber is cool.
And it has a little wind turbine in it, which makes me think of the original Kamen Rider that had a wind turbine in his belt. So I wonder if that's a throwback in the Sentai.
After, just side tangent on Kamen Rider, I think after like 2 or 3, there was a big departure from the original design, and this, I think, was bringing it back to be a little more like modernized of kind of what we knew at the time of classic Kamen Rider.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not sure where the Showa era ended and the Heisei began, but this was 90s, so it was definitely in the Heisei, which is the second era. So then this was interesting too. He's fighting. This isn't blurry because of me. This whole shot was a little blurry. He uses the Electro Saber, and they blast up, and it's a really cool shot. It's choreographed well. The pyrotechnics are cool. Everything works. And my guess is that the shot, for whatever reason, came out blurry. It wasn't in focus. And they're like, well, we got it. It's done. And this is one of those what I consider a happy accident, because I doubt they shot it out of focus on purpose. But I kind of like it. I kind of like that he was like so strong. It's like God. It was like, it's like the whole world shook for a minute.
I imagine because this was ripped from Masked Rider or from Kamen Rider, that there's something else to do with what's going on, and it had to be kind of either formatted differently or cropped in an odd way.
So it was a bigger scene that had other characters they had to crop out. Maybe that's true. Well,
because if you notice, there's a gross difference in production in this fight scene.
Yeah, no, it's very good. But I like as far as the choreography and stuff. But either whether it's your theory that it's Sentai footage or it's my theory that the camera got messed up, whatever the reason, there was a real world reason for doing it. There's an outside chance that they did it as an aesthetic choice, but I doubt it. But I like that it came out in this blur field. I think it just gave it like an otherworldly, like super
almost
powerful.
like a mirage. Like, what is that over there?
Yeah, because he unleashed his new power is like so crazy that it's just like the whole air is heated up or something. Like, yeah. So let me see. From there, we move back to this guy. Oh, good.
You first.
This was one of the Plague Riders, but if you notice, you can see his eyes through the mask.
The Plague Patrol, yeah.
Plague Patrol, sorry. And I don't know if that was a mistake or not, because maybe they're supposed to be humanoids underneath, but every other shot, they're all covered up. So this made me question, was this an error that we see the actor, or are they supposed to be humanoids?
I think because it had that weird thing on his face before,
right.
I'm going to assume that was unable to attach properly after that, and they just kind of owned it.
Okay. And I guess they figured we're not going to see these guys again, so it doesn't matter. Okay.
And then one thing I just realized is, for this 3-parter, they used a lot of American footage.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing that always bothered me with Zoo 2 stuff and Season 3 is they almost never would use their weapons. Right. This would have been a perfect time to be like, let's dust these off and just throw them in for this fight.
That's, you know what? I didn't think of it, but now that you said it, it bothers me too. Especially, and it would have tied in where they said your power levels are going to be lower. They could have been like, hey, we're not as strong as we normally are. We better use our weapons. And that would have justified, because you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to escalate the power and stuff. But if you're at low power, you bring out your weapons. We should be rewriting the. If only we could go back in time and rewrite these episodes.
All right. So thank you for joining the pitch meeting. Really want to dig into the fight in episode 3, where we're gonna. And that was it. To be continued in a branching timeline.
Matt Ken Leclerc says, what's interesting is the Plague Patrol with the saw hand, which we're looking at now. The saw actually came from a later Kaku Ranger monster, one of the Barbaric brothers. Oh, interesting. But I guess because Kaku Ranger had already come out, then they had access to that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for the trivia there, Matt.
Cool.
So then, I don't remember. Oh, this was him transforming? No, he was transforming back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was demorphed.
So he's done.
I don't know who thought that would have been the cool way to do things.
What, this?
Like, there's just the weird hands. So, rant for a moment.
Oh, boy. Okay, let me give you a one shot.
So, when it comes to Season 3, I didn't love the weird, pinky thing they did for the ninja powers, but it started to grow on me. For this, his weird ectophage stuff, never liked it. Didn't like it then because I didn't remember it, and rewatching it, don't like it now. And I don't know who was like, oh no, he's an alien. Just do these weird kind of hand jobs. There's so many options that I don't know why that's what they chose to do. Especially demorphing. Like, the Rangers put their hands back, put their hands on their hips, and their morphers, whatever. And, hey, here's my crystal again.
This is like the Bigdawg Rage Zone. Oh, yeah, Arzuki says Bigdawg Anger Zone.
Today it is.
I will say, I a little bit disagree with you here. I don't think it's the best. I'm like, no, it's awesome. You're wrong. But I am a fan of, extra stuff going on. Like as classic as It's Morphing Time is, I prefer when it's like, it's morphing time. Shift into turbo. I like a little extra zazz,
I agree.
So the fact that he's doing a little something, I like.
But his is super lame. If you compared, so let's say that this isn't from Masked Rider.
Okay, this is not from Masked Rider.
He is introduced as a different Ranger. If they actually call him Power Ranger, if we were to compare this to any other morph sequence, how would you like it as a Ranger morph?
Well, here's the thing. At this point, every Ranger does its Morphin time. So his is the most interesting in terms of being something different. It would be the first one that was different.
So compare that then to this season when they do their ninja thing.
I don't
Which do
remember
you
it
like
well
better?
enough.
It's really goofy. I tried to learn it one time and I still
Okay.
don't remember.
I mean, I know it's different, but I don't remember it. Like you're saying that is better than this.
Yes, 110%.
Well, what I'm saying is, see, you're putting me in a position. I'm not trying to defend it as this is great. I'm
Stop
just saying
defending
I
it,
appreciate extra effort. I appreciate that it wasn't just like, hey, I'm Kamen Rider, or or like, hey, I'm Kamen Rider, Masked Rider. I like that they put effort into it. Maybe it didn't play out exactly, the coolest way, but I like that there's effort.
I feel like there was enough anime to pull from at this time to have really
Anime?
weird. Yeah, if you're just looking at inspiration for stuff
Oh,
at the
sure,
time.
right. Well, I don't know. It didn't
Dragon
bother
Ball
me
had
as
gone
much
on
as you.
for a while, and they had a bunch of crazy ones.
It did
And
not
they
bother
could
me as much as you, but I
clearly.
understand that you are full of rage and you want to destroy the universe at this point.
I wouldn't go that far. Don't make an entire story arc about having to stop me from my master plan. But we'll move on because I could talk about my rage for this for a
Dolly
while.
Girl. Oh, yeah. Dolly Girl was wondering who is a tree, and Babu told her it is Finster. Yes, it is Finster. That is a part tree at least. Erzuki, or say that he likes Will. Oh wait, we're skipping some stuff. Erzuki. Oh, we missed a bunch of stuff. I'm sorry.
Oh wow.
Erzuki says, "I'll tell you, the anger zone is something to behold in person. If you ever want to hear a trigger, just throw an Operation Overdrive." Because he gets so angry that it doesn't get more respect because he likes that season so much, and everybody always
Honestly, this
puts
I
it
think
down.
triggered me more than most recent Overdrive conversations.
Erzuki said, no need to reference anime. There's 16 previous seasons of Sentai and a bunch of Kamen Rider too. I agree.
True.
That's why I was surprised you went to anime.
Well, I was just thinking like from the American side of stuff.
Sure.
If they weren't going to look at anime or if they weren't going to look at the previous Sentais, if they were going to reference what was popular at the time, I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball Z was starting to get carried over, but I could be wrong on my dates.
No, it definitely was. Yeah, at least in specialty shops. But what was popular at the time in America was Power Rangers. So why would they not look at Sentai? But whatever, we could talk about this forever, and it's starting to get you angry again. I don't want to have to go to another one shot.
Go into the cronies that we also don't care about because apparently
they can't leave the ship. Apparently, have you noticed? Did you
Never.
notice that? And the footage here again on the planet, it's merging really well. This footage very much looks like, oh, they're in some other dimension. What is happening here? So they never really feel like part of the show because none of them ever leave the ship. There's no interaction with anybody, not even just Masked Rider, not even with the low level plague people, nothing. So all these scenes, some of the monsters are kind of look cool, like the Cyclops looking guy and stuff like that.
they do.
But it feels like they're not part of the show at all. So it's, I mean, ostensibly it's set up so that we'll care about them when the Masked Rider show starts. But I don't know, like maybe they didn't have these suits yet because they could have had Zed show up or like anything. Have any interaction between these characters and any other character in the show would have made it good.
Or even if they spliced it where like they were talking, like them and Zed and Rita.
Or with a communicator.
Anything.
Because they do have them like on the viewing screen. They could have definitely had like Zed be like, "What are you doing here? Get out of here, Zed, you idiot!"
They did that in Zeo. Maybe they realized to do it later because of the missed opportunity here.
Yeah, that's true. Erzuki says, LOL, funny you say that because so much of the posing in Dragon Ball Z is reference to Sentai. Ginyu Force is basically a big send-up to Tokusatsu. True.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Mechanical Cyclopter was cool. Gork was cool too, despite the constant rhyming he did. Yeah, Cyclopter was the one I was thinking I liked the most, like the blue guy. Gork, I think, is this guy. I don't remember.
He's the little squatty looking one.
Yeah, and the rhyming was a little annoying, but yeah, I could get over it. Oh, and so there's them. And they are laughing because they're about to do something. I forget what. You remember what's going on?
Look at the putties again in the background.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely depowered. They got their heads down and everything.
Still chilling.
That's interesting.
Appreciate the continuity.
Yeah, that is some production person said, we need the set dressing. Get those extras over here. Perfect. Like, they did not need to be there, but it's awesome
and
that they are.
after all of the stories that we heard from the interview with Real Babu, I appreciate it more because it's like those guys got their full 8.
Yeah.
Party or whatever it was. Yeah, they're putting in the work, so good to know.
Yes, but do you remember they were laughing here, and I can't remember what it was. I guess it was just that his forces got defeated, and they were laughing at him.
Yeah, I think. Oh, so I think it's either that or that. I know that the Rangers haven't come back yet. So something.
Okay, no, I know what it is. because that's why I skipped ahead. They're not laughing. They're combined. They're throwing the Z grenade down to blow up the monster. So see, here I was thinking that they were connecting it, like, oh, we failed, and these guys are like, ah ha ha, they failed, which would have been a weak but a connection. That's not what it was. It's like we failed.
Totally unrelated.
Totally unrelated. Zed and Rita throw the bomb down and turn the Repeltor huge, and so here you see. What something that happens very often with these two, where one of them sees the danger and the other doesn't. They're still doing it. And it's like, yeah. And so, wow, that's quite a face on Jason Narvi.
The face acting can never be topped. They set the bar so high. I feel bad for every supplemental generation.
But I do think that Ben and Betty are doing a pretty good job this season.
They are doing solid. Yeah. Not to take away from any face actors that we've had since. But when the bar is set that high,
they're living up to it, not necessarily exceeding it, but certainly living up to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they turn around, and here's Repeltor. Now, even in this shot with nothing else, you know he's huge because the camera's pointed up at him. So,
straight up.
Yeah, it's totally huge. And then, hey, back to action. She's still sick, but she's the only one back on Earth right now. So
Doesn't she like pause to prove that she's sick?
I think she sneezes.
She's like, that's
I think you're right. Yeah. That sounds right. And then we get this shot, which is also pretty cool. Where I think maybe the real Babu knows, but I think what they would do is have the camera person stand on a ladder over the head, and then have the people even further away than they appear to be. So it looks like we're looking down, and they're smaller than they. Like it's all forced perspective stuff when they do this. But again, it's well done. You know, it works. And let me see. Erzuki, as bad as Ninja Steel may have been, Victor and Monty had some great faces. I agree. Victor and Monty did some good face work there. Especially Monty.
Who I think are still going to go to Robo Toy Fest, or at least one of them is. One of the down south shows.
Yeah, in California here. They do a lot of California shows. They're connected. I think they at least know in some way, shape, or form Scott Zillner, who puts on a lot of those shows, and so he's been getting a lot of the Ninja Steel people. He had Ninja Steel Red. I think they canceled, but like he's connected to everybody. But specifically lately, he's been connected to Ninja Steel with those guys. So they need to run away, and now we come back to Edenoi. They take their helmets off, and they're like, oh, by the way, now we're going to give our secret identity to everybody, not just, you guys in the cave, but I guess we're on another planet, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then, do they say to the power here? I can't remember.
They do. They
okay.
End it with, hey, to the power.
To the power.
Oh, to the power.
To the power, and then they teleport, and theoretically that's the end of the Masked Rider part of this, although we will come back to it. Oh, Real Babu says, regarding what I was talking about with this filming, that would be correct. It doesn't have to be a ladder, though. I feel like, do they sometimes stand on extras? Or
honestly, it may just be that they have it.
Oh, just hold it
right here. Yeah.
Sure, that's true. Okay. There are cameras, setups with chair and hydraulics. Oh, I see. Okay, so I'm thinking as someone who doesn't have that kind of equipment, I would use a ladder, but they might actually have a real camera that works that way. Thank you for that.
I want to take a moment and acknowledge these scribbles that give me so much joy, more than they should. Of the, hey, we're teleporting, and they don't do it enough, but I just love them.
I'm impressed that they managed to get the Black Ranger to be a black smear on black. Usually they resort to adding purple, for energy and stuff, which I even did it. I did a picture of the Black Ranger on a black background, so I put a little purple halo. But they were like, no, we're just gonna do a really dark gray and make it work. So well done.
Matt Kendall Clare said, Dex's female friend Zarius, I believe that was the same actress who was Jennifer in Zeo, who was a guest character in the Silo episode. I unfortunately don't remember either of those characters.
Like I said in the last episode, I never watched Kamen Rider when it was on, and I did sort of a crash course before we started this, but I don't know if Zarius was the sister or a different character, but I don't know Kamen Rider very well at all.
I think it's the either just the straight up friend from school or the adopted sister. I'm not sure.
Well, on a side note, though, going back to Masked Rider, I found out recently that the actress who plays the mom was something like 16 when she was playing the mom. Yeah, you can look this up. It sounds crazy, but I don't know why. I mean, I guess she looked older than she was, but why? It makes no sense to me, but that was, I don't remember her name, but if you see pictures of her now at conventions and stuff, she looks, she's 30, but she is 30. she was.
I'm gonna look this up after because that is
It's
very
crazy. I don't know. I mean, maybe she lied about her age because I don't know the full backstory. So maybe she lied about her age or something. But it's like she's the wife with the husband, and they have teenage kids. But it's a teenager playing the mother. It's crazy. I understand like cutting corners and budget and all that stuff, but like they couldn't find an adult to play the adult. Like it's very odd. Matt Kendall says Zarius is the female Edenite in this 3-part episode. Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you very much. Real Babu, correct, Matt. She was also in Beetleborgs for 2 episodes. Wow, Real Babu busting out knowledge. Him and Matt Kendall Clare vying for the title there.
You guys can be the 2 other corners of the knowledge zone.
Yeah, seriously. All of that blew right past me. So well done. Well spotted and well confirmed. Okay, now they're back on Earth, and immediately, because it's huge, they're like, we need Thunderzord power.
Oh, I had a question for you. How do you like this Thunderzord call versus the one where they would use the old Zoo Ranger footage?
I like the Zoo Ranger footage because I like the Tyrannosaurus and the Pterodactyl and all this stuff. I don't mind it. I like that they put a little bit of Power Rangers Lightning, makes it much more American.
Yeah.
I like it fine. It's clearer footage. It's not the grainy footage that doesn't match up. I think there's merit to both, but my personal taste, I prefer the Zoo Ranger footage.
Okay.
What about you?
Same. I prefer the Zoo Ranger footage.
Oh, okay.
If you're like, oh, like I hate it, or if you're
no, it's fine. Babu's cheating. IMDb.
Yeah, well,
that makes me feel better.
Don't reveal your sources, and you'll have more clout in the chat.
That's fine. IMDb works. So then they call him, and this is so they still call him out as the original Zord. So there's Sabertooth Tiger to Griffin. I don't know why I put that in, but I did. I thought this was a really cool shot of the Tiger Zord. For no other reason, I grabbed that. And then I also, it's kind of a weird thing to notice because it's not a thing to notice, but we see Tommy jump on top of the Tiger Zord, and it occurred to me, and this is probably something that everybody thinks about all the time, but like in the original Power Rangers and Zoo Ranger, they all would get inside immediately, but Tommy as the Green Ranger and Burai in Zoo Ranger would stay outside or possibly stand on top. Mm-hmm. And now with the Tiger Zord, he does get into the cockpit sometimes, but similarly, he calls him separately and can fight alongside of him or stand on top of him. And what's weird about that to me is if this was all one show, it makes sense that Tommy's powers, he's outside, the Sixth Ranger, he's outside, but it was 2 different shows.
I know,
and it just worked out that way that it continuity-wise made sense in Power Rangers, even though it didn't have to.
And the Sentai counterparts are grossly different characters.
Oh, yeah. I think we've talked about specifically Tommy, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of the boy who
Mm-hmm. I am too. That's why I didn't say it.
It's like a 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy who's like a skateboarding little scampy jerk, kind of a charming.
He is a jerk.
Yeah.
He's so he's such a great character.
Yeah, he's really fun. But yeah, he's a little kid character, but not a boring goody two shoes kind of character. He's kind of he's a little bit of a jerk. He's not a bad guy, but he's a little bit of a jerk. And so it's funny when you see, and actually I think I took a screenshot of this.
I hope you did of him laughing.
Yes, yeah, okay. So they're forming up, and I prefer this to every CGI version.
Oh yeah.
Anytime it's real puppetry, I prefer it. So I just took a few shots of that. I thought maybe it doesn't come till later, so I don't want to keep going too far ahead. Hold on a sec. Candace, Matt Claire says Candace Kita was one of the one who played Barbara, Dax's adoptive mom. Okay, thank you. And so. Candace Kita supposedly was a teenager when she did it, which is nuts. And Arizuki said, sorry for the background sneeze. She's doing her best Kimberly impression. Well justified. Matt Claire is correcting the name. Arizuki, silence! Sneezes have no meaning on a planet under the Cape of War.
Cape of War from Chat.
Fantastic.
One thing I know we mentioned last week, I believe, is as far as I am aware, and correct me if I'm wrong in chat if this is 100% false, but I'm pretty positive I'm right. This is original Zord footage right here.
I would imagine so. Because it has to be. Because I was going to say, because we have the Thunder Megazord and the White Ranger, Tiger Ranger. They could be together because they were both Die Ranger. But this creature painted green is American only. So then it has to be original footage. And I have seen behind the scenes stuff with American suit actors in the Tiger Zord and stuff. So I know at some point they did get these suits in America. So that would make sense.
It's just a shame because right after this, it's like, by the way, you guys need new powers.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. That's the nature of trying to keep it going with continuity, which is why nowadays they don't do that. which, for better or worse, it'd be interesting to see if they tried, but whatever.
That would be real. Actually, if they were ever going to do it, and this is 100% never going to happen,
Right.
if they did it with a Kiva Ranger, that would be the one to do it.
Like to just use that footage and nothing
To
else?
use like a little bit of carried over footage,
That'd be
but clearly
tough.
so much of the rest you couldn't use.
But even their morphers have like an anime girl on them.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would be
And
a
just not
challenge.
justify it at all. Just be like, oh, we got these new power-ups that we won't explain.
Here are these things we found in a cave from an ancient
Uh-oh.
deity.
Bigdawg, you're having connectivity issues. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. We were spoiled last week because he didn't have any connective issues at all. Yeah, he doesn't know he's having connectivity issues. He thinks he's telling us a really funny joke. It's a knowledge zone. He thinks he's putting on some great show for you guys, but nope, Evox is swallowing into the abyss. Let me see here. Like, he's just a frozen face. Hey, I'm Bigdawg. I think I'm still talking. I don't know that I've lost connection here, but here's a funny joke about my beard. All right, so enough about that. He'll probably fight off Evox in a second. So let me go back to the Ranger show here. I'm going to advance the slideshow because while I am enjoying this, I don't want it to be a 3-part episode. Actually, let me check chat, see if I missed anything here. Matt Claire says, we started something, yeah. Defender is correct with the Zord footage. It's original footage, however, it wasn't the first time for them having original footage. I think, they did have some footage with, I guess with the original Megazord. Is that true? Maybe. Real Boo said Evox found us. Indeed, he did. And then Matt Claire, oh, here we go. Yeah, so, yeah. Oh, Evox, I guess he sent a Cyclodrone and a Meltron to him. Yeah, so hopefully he'll be back in a minute. But in the meanwhile, let's push on, because I think the part we were already talking about is coming up. So they're fighting, and it's a decent fight. It's nothing special, but it works. And they're kind of doing a 2-on-1. And the Thunder Megazord gets knocked down. I'm trying to get to this part. And again, this is all original footage because he's green, so we know that that's original. And then I really like, this might have been Die Ranger footage because it's just a single attack, but I love this attack, which I feel like they don't do it enough for the Tiger Zord, because I prefer the Tiger Zord in Tiger mode just because, I don't know, I like the Tiger. I think that's cool more than the robot mode, but I love when it's in robot mode and it has the energy blast. Like, there's something really cool about, like, the way it powers up and the steam and everything. So he fires, and I didn't get a really good shot of it. This is what we were talking about before. This is Tommy, the White Ranger, and he's like, here it comes, and he shoots, and he goes, ah, ha, 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 ha. And I think, like, Jason David Frank doing the voice acting kind of goes, haha, like more of like a adult battle laugh. But the character definitely kind of does one of these, which makes sense because he's supposed to be a 12-year-old kid. I think he's 12. I'm forgetting the exact age. And so he's like, ha ha ha, I got you, you idiot. Ha ha ha, you're so stupid. But we had to have the adult Tommy, who's now, I guess, still in high school, though, certainly getting older. And it's just one of those fun moments where they had to keep it in, but justify why he's laughing or how he's laughing. Matt Claire says, nope, not original Megazord. They had brief footage between Thunder and Megazord and Zoo 2 Monster. Second time was when Rita stole Saba. Okay. I know they also did stuff where they would have, they'd have the Thunder Megazord, and they'd have, they'd have to take different shots where they wouldn't actually be in the same shot. So you'd see a shot of, like, the Dragon Zord with the Megazord after the Dragon Zord had been destroyed in Zoo Ranger. Or you'd see the White Tiger Ranger and the Megazord, but they wouldn't be together. Or you'd see them, like, go for a punch, and it would be, like, one Zord, and then the punch close-up would be a different Zord. So, but again, this is all stuff we notice more now. When it came out, they did a really good job of putting it together so that the average person, let alone kid, wouldn't notice this stuff. All right, so moving on from that, I love the Thunder Megazord. It's one of my favorite. This might be blasphemy, but I prefer it to the original Dinos. I guess what do they call it? The Dino Megazord? I mean, the original Megazord, I guess, is Dino. But I love the sort of samurai-ish look. I've been told that, and it makes sense, that it's more Chinese than Japanese because Die Ranger is more of a Chinese season. But it's got this sword that looks very much like a samurai sword, and it pulls it out, and there's, like, the fire, and just, I don't know, it goes together so well. It's definitely one of my all-time favorite Zords, both in the show and also in toy form. I got the Legacy one, and it's great. Let me check Bigdawg. He says, I'm back, but not in your call. Let me, I'm going to tell you guys I'll be right back 1 second while I restart. All right, sorry about that. Bigdawg is having trouble reconnecting for some reason. I was trying to see if I could help him, but I don't know if I can. So we'll go a little bit more, and I'm hoping he's coming back. But
There we go.
oh, there he is. What happened?
For some reason, my internet pooped for a sec, and then every time I joined the call, it was like, yeah, you're in the call by yourself.
Okay. Well, I restarted, and I guess maybe that helped. But either way, welcome back.
Thank you.
We talked
Sorry
about
for the delay.
We talked about the laughing part. I moved on a little bit, and we're at the end of the fight here. Let me see some chat real quick. Matt Kendall Claire. Oh wait. Hold on. Urzuki says, "So hey guys, what's up? Cool lightsaber." Oh, from the Be Right Back screen. That was our old apartment season power. Yeah, that was. I used to use that on my old stream, and I haven't updated it, but I just thought it'd be a fun thing to throw up since I had it ready. Thank you for the welcome back. Oh, Hydrate is telling me to drink. I haven't seen Hydrate in a while.
Oh, yeah.
And Matt Kendall Claire, never know with the Evoc virus. Okay, so we're back. They finished the fight, and they won, shockingly. And they do a double sword cool pose, which is, always
To
nice.
the power.
To the power. And then we cut back to the throne room. Now, what's interesting here... Oh, you can't even see it. Let me mute myself, if I can. Hold on. Because we're blocking something important right here. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, if you block me... And do you see this little area right here? Can you see that? Do you see my? Oh, you don't see my cursor, do you? Oh, there you go. Do you see my cursor on the screen or not? I can't tell.
I cannot.
Okay. Well, if you look, there's Lord Zed, and you look to the left, there's Squat, who we haven't seen this episode, and a little bit more, just barely on screen. Hey, it's Babu.
Just
Babu.
a tiny bit.
Remember him? It's been 3 episodes, and the first time we see him is just his elbow, sort of. Hey, me too, guys. I don't know.
Hey.
Being lazy. What were they doing? Did they oversleep? Were they playing Chinese checkers? I don't know. But there was a lot going on. And maybe if Babu had been around more and Squad had been around more, we wouldn't have had to pay so much attention to Repellitor, who after all that work just got destroyed and we never see again.
Yep.
So
I think I recognize that arm.
Yeah.
The real Babu.
Oh, you can see it a little bit better in this one, but not much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The real Babu. Yeah. So I don't know. You were slacking that time, real Babu. You didn't pitch in very much on that adventure.
I think they knew. Steve knew that everybody was going in on Repellitor, and he's like, let's play out.
Oh, okay. And then let them go up on the high and then crash when he dies. And then they
If
all
I'm not involved, I can't get yelled at. So,
That's true. That's true. And then they all come crawling back to Babu and Squad afterwards. So that they're unhappy with Repellitor, and he's yelling. And now these guys, Bulk and Skull come back kind of half wearing the uniforms, like, hey, remember us? Again, some nice facial work there.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's it. They're like, you guys are idiots. I don't remember what they said. Like, you're not really the Power Rangers. I can't believe I ever thought that.
He was saying, like, if I ever bring up any plan involving the Power Rangers,
Oh, yeah.
like, don't let me do it.
Right, which is kind of how it started, where he's like, I don't want to hear it, Bulky. I don't want your plans. He's like, no, listen. And now he's like, don't listen.
And I mean, that may have, been the final nudge to lead him down their detective path.
Quite possibly. I mean, it comes not that far from here.
The beginning of season 3, new change, new me.
Yeah, new change, new me. The real Babu said, I didn't get to write the scripts, unfortunately. I got yelled at anyway. All right, so we cut back, and everybody's chilling out, having a good time, looking at Alpha, and Alpha's like, oh boy, I'm so happy to see you. I am calmly greeting you, and this is fantastic.
I want to take a quick moment. I know that all of the Rangers have to wear something to acknowledge what Ranger they are.
Right.
But that is some goofy wear on
the
Tommy
white
right now.
It's double white. Here's the thing. The bandana doesn't bother me. It's the tank top. It just looks like an undershirt. And I feel like they had that on him and were like, that's not enough, so put this on. But he could have had like any other shirt with the white.
Something.
It's a bit much. But I feel like didn't he do that with green as well? And I feel like
he may have here and there.
So yeah, I don't know. But
I
think
big on sleeveless shirts.
So was Jason.
His main one was Jason I think wore a lot of tank tops, but Tommy just had like a regular sleeveless shirt that he would wear like all the time in the early episodes.
Gotcha. Matt Kendall Claire, Rita and Zed would blame anyone for the Rangers beating them. That's true.
It's true.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So let me see. And so this is them. Oh, I forgot Rocky's still wearing his. That's a nice touch because he was wearing that karate outfit. Remember I was saying how they were trying to make him look like Jason, and so I mean, he should be wearing the same clothes, but it's a nice touch that he got teleported in the middle of his workout. And well, I guess, technically Tommy was in the middle of his workout too. So that actually justifies it as well. So you know what? Everything you just said is null and void because they were in workout clothes. They teleported, fought a war, came back, and they're still in workout clothes.
I will say, I don't know what material that gi's made out of, but that had to be grossly uncomfortable on Edenoi.
No, because it's in the suit, so once again, it doesn't exist, just like sneezes and hair.
Everything's magic.
All right, so we cut back to the cool ship with the interesting villains that never interacted. What was his name again? Count Dragon?
Dragon.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, they think they've won, but that's right. They follow the Power Rangers teleported back to Earth. So he's like, we're going to go back to Earth and follow them. And you're like, oh, wow, round 2, here we come. But really, it was just setting up why Masked Rider would end up on Earth.
Yeah.
This planet, I'm looking at it again. You ever watch Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Oh, it does kind of look like that.
It looks exactly like that, doesn't it?
That's funny. I wonder if it was ripped from it.
I do, too. If I had more time, I would quick search it. But, yeah, that's really funny. I knew it reminded me of something, but I didn't know until just now. Okay, so then we cut back to Edenoi, so we weren't done. And Dex walks past this weird, it's like Saturn painted on the wall. Like I don't.
No, we're looking into space gas. Jeez.
But I'm not even sure if that's what it's supposed to be. It seems like a space museum is where he is. You know what I mean? Like
just everything that happened for this entire scene, I just went.
It wasn't. It's not even me so much saying what terrible special effects. It's more what was it supposed to be. I don't even know what they were going for. Yeah, I guess. And so he meets up with his grandfather. Now, this grandfather, maybe this is just a common thread if I watched enough Masked Rider, because the grandfather looks like, I don't know, 20. Like he's got a big beard and a wig and all that, but it's obviously. But if you look underneath, he's not old. He could maybe be his father, definitely not his grandfather. Like, did they just not have any adult or old actors when they were casting for Masked Rider? Like, what's going on?
I'm gonna leave that up to IMDb and/or chat.
Okay. Let me see. Matt Kendall Clare, knowledge fact. Dragon's voice actor played Dr. Michael Zaskin in Time Force. Oh, he worked for Mr. Collins at Biolab and was pretty much the only employee who spoke. Nice. Thank you for that. And Dolly Girl said, when I see that brown dirt planet, I can imagine playing Sim Ant in middle school, just a brown world. That would have been awesome if there were bug monsters coming up kind of like Starship Troopers that they had to fight. That would have been awesome.
Or if you just hear the voices of different characters from Beast Wars because of the CG.
That too, yeah. So this ends with he's like, okay, you got to go to Earth because Count Dragon's going to Earth. So we'll keep things settled here or whatever. What is it? Hold on. He says, oh, that's right. Because I watched the beginning of Masked Rider, and basically what I'm getting at is the end of this episode and the beginning of Masked Rider vastly different. There was definitely a retcon, a rewrite. It was definitely different. And at the beginning of Masked Rider, they're on the planet, they're fighting. It's kind of similar, and it's like, okay, we got things kind of wrapped up here. You got to go protect Earth because they're going to attack Earth, which kind of makes sense with where we left off here. But what happens here is go to Earth. It's too late for our world, implying that their world is done, destroyed, whatever. But they just won the fight, and the main bad guy left for Earth. What's too late? It's too late for our world. What does that mean?
Maybe because they mined all the gas that killed it.
Oh, so it's too late. Oh, okay. Good call. But regardless, if you watch the end of this and the beginning of Masked Rider, there's a lot of weird inconsistencies that don't match up at all.
The only thing that you really need to know about the Masked Rider show is there's different Masked Rider suits, and Dax at one point to show that Dex, thank you, two Power Ranger related characters I don't like too burn. The one thing that they use to show that he's clearly not from Earth is in the opening credits, he eats. Yes, you heard me correctly. Eats a juice box.
Yeah. They say, here's some food, and he goes, thank you. And, yeah. I will say the actor did an awesome job of
he did. It was
it wasn't awkward at all. It looked like a guy who thinks you eat a juice box. So,
yes.
It might be worth revisiting at some point in the future an episode of Masked Rider for comedic purposes.
If we can find it for either a reasonable price
it's hard to find.
A way to, I'll look at local Rasputin or Streetlight or something.
I feel like finding it on VHS is going to be easy, but how are we going to watch it? Who has a VCR sitting around? I technically have one in my house, but it's not set up.
We'll figure it out.
That's for another day. We're not saying we're gonna do it, but it might be worth it because there is a lot of comedic gold in there.
Yeah.
And that concludes it though. A friend in
So
need.
does little gem look different in the end credit versus?
Yes, it looks
Okay,
much
good.
bigger.
Yeah, it looks very round.
Yeah, and I don't, on Master Rider when he's on Earth, maybe he conceals it or something because I don't remember him running around with that on his head. when
Yeah, I
he's,
think they did some kind of throwaway reason of like, we don't want to glue this on his face all the time.
Right. Well, also because then people would know he's not from Earth because they'd see him and go, "Oh, you're an alien," not "Oh, you're a guy with a gem glued on your head."
Oh no, that guy's cool. He just eats juice box.
All right. So overall, I did enjoy this. I mean, as much as we nitpicked it, I thought it was a fun 3-parter. Could have been better as a 2-parter, but I liked it. I think they didn't do a great job making Masked Rider look like a really appealing character, even though he was strong and he looked cool. Like the deck side of it was not really well done, I don't think. But despite that, I liked it overall. What about you?
I'm not gonna lie. I actually was talking about this at work, and this actually ties into work. Your most recent follower is our Janani bot, which is
nice.
one of my coworkers. Shout out to Orange Janani,
Hey,
as he's known.
Arch Janani.
The annoying Orange Janani.
Oh,
But,
like the annoying orange.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Okay.
So we were talking about it today, and I was like, to be honest, that first episode had such weird moments that it was my favorite of the 3. And I'm a little disappointed that there weren't as many like confusing, laughable moments. Overall, though, like good or bad, it was enjoyable.
Yes, definitely.
Whether it was because it had some great shots or some good fight scenes, or just terrible little plot holes that we can't figure out, and some of the greatest dialogue I've ever heard.
Yes,
on a television show.
Crossovers are always fun, even when they're not well done. It's just fun to see different universes connect and things like that. So it gets bonus points just for that.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say, talking about all the weird stuff in the first episode and like the unintentional comedy and stuff, that's another vote for diving a little deeper into Masked Rider.
Yeah.
Just saying, we'll put it on the back burner, but that's, I think we could have a good time watching some Masked Rider on this show.
I think so. I think it'd be worth, actually one of my favorite YouTube channels called Mr. Sunday Movies,
Right.
and he and his buddy have a section called Caravan of Garbage,
Oh,
where people submit stuff, good or bad, mostly
Right.
bad, for them to review. And like one of them's the original Ocean's 11 movie with Frank Sinatra, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this movie's terrible," and here's why.
Oh,
Or like one of them, the guy hadn't seen like any of the Disney animated movies outside of like 2 or 3. So it's like, oh, Aladdin's out. Let's watch
Sure.
Aladdin. So it's a fun.
Well, I
thing
don't want to watch
it made me
any
think of.
Disney movies. I think that might be a little too much off brand. But
Oh no,
no, I know.
That's what they do.
Yeah. I'm kidding.
There's plenty. I mean, even Beetleborgs. Like, I watched some of those semi recently, and those have their moments.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
All right, so we're a little over an hour, but there's a little bit of news. I don't know if you have any.
I have at least 3 things in news.
All right, well, let me go first, just because the first thing probably most of us know about, certainly if you're on our Facebook page, which actually I will give another plug for. For those that don't know, we rebroadcast on YouTube tomorrow. There's a link to that, and we have a Facebook group you could join as well. But this has been discussed on the Facebook page. I think Matt Kendall Clare put it in originally, which is there is a new Lightning line. Yeah, it is Lightning line. New Lightning line figure coming out through Walgreens, and it's going to be Zack the Black Ranger from Mighty Morphin with the dragon shield. And this is the only picture that we've seen. We haven't seen an in-package picture. But I did do a little further research, and he does come with the Zack unhelmeted head. So it's definitely, well, we knew it'd be Zack because he has the dragon shield as opposed to Adam, but it does have that head, and it comes with the dragon dagger as well. So those aren't pictured, but it is like a full figure with all the accessories you'd hope it'd have. And I don't know, are you at all excited about this, Bigdawg?
So I said this on the Facebook page and to you completely separately, but I may have my phone tapped allegedly by Hasbro, because everything that I've ever mentioned of like, what are the things I like? Powered up versions of Rangers, 6-inch figures that scale well,
right,
and are affordable. And when you throw exclusives in there, hey, I'm a fan. And what's checked all these boxes? The San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 2-pack, the Walgreens exclusive now, Black Ranger, and I'm sure we're getting a Green Ranger coming soon to fill out the trio.
I'm sure. Speaking of the San Diego Comic-Con, we talked about it last week, but I'll show a different picture This is the package that it comes in. We showed like a out of package shot, but this also shows you that it's got special packaging, which is always kind of bittersweet for me because I love the artistry that goes into it, but I usually throw them out. So it's like, but you can see that they come with all their individual weapons. You can see the scepter. What's it called? The power staffs, not scepter. Comes in both modes, which is cool. The blaster comes in both modes because with the previous line, it only came in the folded mode, which is so stupid. You got the dragon dagger, you got the combined weapon, and you have 2 different heads without the helmet. The rumor guess is that this is the standard head that if they get standard release, this is what you get, and that this smiling head might be the exclusive. And I was already going to get this, but that seals it for me because one of my complaints about, and I love this line, and they're all very good, but the facial expressions I don't love. They're kind of neutral, sort of stern, but they're not like a battle face. They're not a smiling face. I talked about this with the Dino Charge Red with Brandon Mejia. He should be smiling. It's got this really neutral face, and I feel like he's such a smiley guy in real life and on the show. Like, it doesn't look like him to me because he's always smiling. So it's a weird, and again, if it was like a battle, that makes sense too, but it's sort of a. So the fact that they got the Austin St. John smiling, honestly, any emotion I would like better than just the neutral emotion. So that if I had any doubt, that sold it for me.
One thing I think of when I see that Austin St. John smiling head is has anybody in the chat seen the video? It was probably for some mashup like episode of Rangers where they just show old footage or something, but it's him dancing. And for some reason in the last year, it's become popular for certain memes of like, oh, when I go to the club with my friends, this is me. Like, and it's him dancing, doing martial arts. And I don't know, but it is so 90s. I just love it.
You know what?
Crowd, if you go Austin.
Find a clip of that and throw it up on the Facebook page so everyone can see it.
Oh, I will.
Okay,
sure.
Cool.
Go follow the Facebook page for that. And so we get closer to the goal of last week. We talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Get T-shirts made of silence. Words have no meaning.
You know what? Here you go.
Maybe
because I was gonna this Kamen Rider, Mass Rider, I was gonna make into a print potentially. Maybe it could be a T-shirt eventually. Just saying. Okay. In chat, real quick, Real Babu, Sweet Valley High episode. Wait, I missed a few things. Hold on. Death review. Arizuki said death review. You can join.
Death Kappa review.
Death Kappa review. Okay, wow. Okay, that's a Twitch joke that I missed.
Death.
Yeah, that's a big kaiju turtle movie monster, which is pretty crazy.
So crazy.
That again is an expansion because this is usually our Power Rangers show, like this weekly thing. Who knows? Maybe we could branch out, or maybe do a secondary show once in a one-off show or something. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Matt Kendall. Real Babu, Sweet Valley High episodes. That we could review. That is more on brand than Disney. I will agree. The production is probably about the same. Matt Kendall, I bet someone is bringing up a figure. It's nice because now we can get rid of our SH Figure Arts version. It's true. We do have the SH Figure Arts armored Black Ranger and Matt Kendall Defender. Who doesn't like powered up Rangers?
I'm I know people like them. He
likes them the most.
Gaz will agree. If ever there's something where there's some weird powered up version of a character, even if I just know of them, like Ultraman's a prime example. Ultraman has Ultraman X mode where he has this big old armor thing. The first thing that Gaz said to me when I saw it is, you should probably get that because
of the armor. Yeah.
He's a powered up mode. Why would you not get that?
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's unrealistic, bulky, stupid, garish, unnecessary, maybe not in the show. He wants it. It's a power-up on top of a power-up with a side power-up? Yes.
There's one I got a while ago where there's an Ultraman where apparently he was only like this in the movie for literally 2 minutes, but he is all gold.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, all right. Seems good to me. Let's do it.
So that's old news and new news. I had one other thing, and then I'll let you close on yours. And actually, this might be one of the things you're talking about. Regarding Power Rangers comics, issue 40 recently came out, which I'm a little behind, so I haven't read it, but it's a little bit of a spoiler if you're reading the comics, but I don't know how you would have avoided it. The Green Ranger is now the White Ranger. And this is happening in issue 40. And the reason I bring it up, because we don't normally talk about the comics, but it's a big event thing, and there's a ton of variant covers. There's all the official variants, and then there's specific store ones. And one of the variants, or two I should say, are done by somebody I know, who you may know, Matt Frank. He's mostly known as a Godzilla artist, but he dabbles in Power Rangers and a few other things. And so he had this cover, which is an homage to Spider-Man 300, was it? And then he also has this one, which is an homage to an issue of Action Comics. I forget where it's Superman breaking the chains. So
I think it's
I don't remember the number.
Landmark, like 100 issue.
Okay, I mean,
not
I know
100, but like
I know it's Neil Adams' art, which shows you how my mind works. I know the artist, but not the issue number. But so both of, and the other one was Todd McFarlane, if I didn't say that. So both of these are tributes to those that were commissioned by Legends Comics and Games to be variant covers specifically for them. So there's a lot, and these are official. I don't mean to say they're not official, but there's a lot that were released by Boom. But then there's these extra secondary ones put out through specific venues that you might want to check out. So if you're interested in the comic or collecting or just the White Ranger or whatever, now is the time to look at this stuff because it's going to get expensive later on. So just, that was all I had to say on that. Did you have more you want to talk about regarding story or anything else?
Yes. So obviously we keep it spoiler free here.
Right.
There was the arc after Shattered Grid called Beyond the Grid.
Yes.
Which concluded in issue 39, which now this is completely different.
Okay.
What I will say, keeping everything spoiler free.
Yes.
If you don't want to catch up on Beyond the Grid, just jump into issue 40. You'll be okay.
Okay.
Also, what I will say is, as you can see by the cover, Tommy is the White Ranger. But when is he the White Ranger? And that's what I will say. It is very worth reading and can't recommend it enough. Such a breath of fresh air. And from the collector side of things, I don't know how many people collect the helmet variants. It started in issue 0 of this comic, and then
they're sort of very painterly looking. Yeah.
So one thing that Boom is doing now, because they know how to make money very well, is for issue 0, some of the harder to get exclusives were Tommy as the White Ranger, Tommy as the Green Ranger, and then Jason with the Dragon Shield holding it. That one, very difficult to get. Sorry that you don't have a way to get it cheaper, but if you want a all-foil version of Tommy as the White Ranger, you can get it at retail price, or roughly, for this issue, if your local comic book store has it or you find it online for less than $10. Way easier to do. I did it personally,
just
and
to fill
I
the
highly
slot.
recommend it.
And again, any of these that you're interested, don't wait, because they're just going to get harder to get as time goes on. Real Babu said Sweet Valley High filmed next door to a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. So there you go. That is, and then he says Matt, because Real Babu also knows Matt Frank, and I don't mean to play. I'm friends with him. I just know him professionally, and actually, well, yeah, I'll just leave it at
that. So that's all I have for the comic.
Okay.
So today it was announced, for those local to the Bay Area, specifically in California, we have a big convention called Silicon Valley Comic-Con.
I will be tabling there.
Perfect. Then this will tie in 8 different ways.
8?
That's rough math, but you'll know what I mean.
8 is enough.
So well done. So they announced some of the guests today, and spoiler alert, they're for Power Ranger actors and actresses.
I did not know this.
Yes, so this is news to everybody.
Okay, so, I'm very excited because I'm going to be there.
So more to come. I don't know if that's just more celebrities or more Ranger actors to come, but Austin St. John.
Boom.
Johnny Young Bosch.
Boom.
Karen Ashley.
Choom.
And the bad dad of them all, just kidding, David Fielding.
Boom. Oh, okay, the bad dad of them all. Nice.
So they're going to be there. I know for me personally, I've not seen Austin St. John at other conventions. I've just seen him kind of walk past. But he's one I'm going to prioritize just because if you are a big Ranger fan and you do go to these kind of cons, these are the times to try to see them. Usually if, like, for example, Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman, is going to be there, his line's going to be a mile long.
Yes.
But you might be able to see Austin St. John a little bit easier, or maybe some of the Ranger actors. And I know in the past I did the same thing with Jason David Frank, where I saw him waited like 10, 15 minutes. I think Gazbot Knight did that at the beginning of the show one day, and it was really easy and awesome experience. So I highly recommend it.
I recommend that as a tactic for this particular con if you're local, but I talk about this all the time because I do a lot of conventions where I'm selling, but I also go as a fan sometimes too. And if you go to a horror movie convention and try to meet the guy that played Freddy, forget it. But if there's a Power Ranger there, you might see him easily. And then you flip it, the same two people. You go to a Power Ranger convention, nobody cares if the guy plays Freddy, or if, Hellboy just came out, you're going to have a hard time talking to Mike Mignola, creator of Hellboy, because there's the new movie.
Yeah.
But if you go next year and just go to like the booth where he's selling his comic, you could probably walk right up to him. So all of these people at different conventions at different times are much more accessible, and he's right, because I have had the same experience with Austin St. John, where I've kind of seen him but not actually interacted with him. And at Power Ranger conventions, forget it. It's so hard. But at other conventions, and not to say that people don't go to see him, but there's a lot of, like Doctor Who is there, and people are gonna be like, oh man, it's Doctor Who from England, So that's very good to know. And I will be there for sure, tabling. Maybe I'll try to get away to see if I could meet them. I've met most of them, but maybe I can get them to. Who knows? Maybe I can get some little action activate call outs. You never know. Cool. Maybe talk about them, be on the show. I mean, I don't want to promise anything, but I'll certainly approach them and see. Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, and that's one thing. Even if some people travel, it's a really good con.
Airzuki summed up everything we just said in one line. So you're saying it's easier to see Ranger actors at general pop culture cons than it is at specific Power Ranger cons.
Absolutely.
That's everything we just said summed up right there. Yes. Yep. But I'm very excited that they're going to be there. I did not know that. And I thought when I do shows, because I sell art for those that don't know, and a lot of my art is Power Ranger art, I try to make sure I have a print of every actor that's going to be there. I have prints of all those actors already. And I think I even have all of their characters, which is good because I'm pretty swamped right now, and I didn't want to add more to my plate, but I don't have to. I'll just have them ready.
Yep.
All right, so that's pretty good news. Was there more about that convention that you wanted to say? Because there was like 8 things, and that was only 5.
Oh, well, I meant because you have multiple Rangers for each actor.
Oh, true, yes.
So the 3, 2, on and on. It didn't add 8, but don't worry about the math.
4, 5, 6, and 6.
So this is another random exclusive news that, for those who care, I'm going to be open and say I am not one of them. San Diego Comic-Con is going to have a Power Rangers exclusive Green Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers scooter available for purchase.
Is it Razor Scooter?
It is.
Yeah, I saw that. They had a Bumblebee one. Was it last year or the year before?
I don't remember. The other thing, too, thinking about it now, so I bought some Razor scooters actually for Toys for Tots last year.
Oh, nice.
And they don't cost $80.
How much
which
do
is
they cost?
like $20, $30.
So you're paying all that extra money for the exclusive deco.
Yeah, I'm like...
but is that something... I feel like that's a weird exclusive, too, because if you use it, it loses its value. Yeah. It's not like a toy where you can maybe put it on the shelf and keep it safe. Like a scooter is going to get scuffed up and dirty and like that's what it's for.
The box is cool. I mean, maybe if you love the box, just ask somebody, "Hey, can you use that scooter? Can I get that box?" I mean, just want to put it up.
Maybe if you're like working one of those offices that are like you could scooter around your office, it'll keep it kind of nice. I don't know. It does seem it's an odd exclusive. The scooters in general because they're gonna lose their value and but. On that note, I just got this today. We are both going to Comic-Con this year. I'm going to be tabling. We're not going as Action Activate. We're going as Gazbot the artist. But the Bigdawg will be there occasionally at my table and all the time running around having fun. So if you are going to either Silicon Valley Comic-Con or San Diego Comic-Con, I will be at both. The Bigdawg will probably be at both.
I will be at both.
We'll be at both as well. Okay, yeah. So come say hi, to the power. And hang out and chat with us if you see us.
Aki Drago!
Oh, wow. Hey, what's up, Aki Drago? Long time no chat.
Do you like how I for sure said it that time?
I let you say it first. I don't know why I have such a mental block where I always mispronounce it.
I think because you're reading it as if it's the name of an anime character, that's why you say it in like breaking it up weird.
A kid, a Drago. Yeah. All right, so that's it for Silicon Valley Comic-Con news. Did you have anything else?
I feel like...
you did San Diego with the Razor scooter, right?
This isn't really news per se, but it is still technically rumored. Okay. But a lot of the Rangers that we've been told for Wave 2 of the Lightning series have been like soft confirmed, but because it's not officially announced from Hasbro, it's still a rumor, but it should be a Kimberly. Yep. And the reason I say that is we don't know if it's Mighty Morphin Pink or Ranger Slayer.
I heard it was Mighty Morphin Pink, but go ahead.
The article I read, I forget exactly who it was from, but the Power MorphCon had reposted it. But that I keep saying
Magna
GoBust.
Defender.
Magna Defender, Beast Morphers Red, and I believe Beast Morphers Silver.
Oh, is this? I thought it was gold, but
Are going
okay.
to be, or no, gold. Sorry, I
Okay.
keep mixing up who is the human and who is the robot. But yes,
Gotcha.
gold. So those are the ones that.
And those are the ones they've been saying for a long time. So
Mhm.
I mean, if it's not that, it'd be weird because it keeps coming back as the same thing.
Yeah.
Mac and Clara heard MMPR pink as well, so that's another source. Erzuki Magna Defender. We need it. Yeah, that's another. I have a Magna Defender vintage figure that I will be selling very soon because I know the new one's coming out and it will be better.
Yeah, 100%.
Mine doesn't even have a cape.
I will say the old one though is pretty great. I
don't
with it a lot.
I
as a
don't have
kid.
the standard one. I have the one where he's sitting in a jet jammer, which he didn't even have on the show. And because he's made for that reason, he doesn't have a cape. So he was fine when I had nothing, but he's not even the best version of a vintage one. And I have a box for it, so it's much better for someone that collects vintage box stuff than me. I just want a really good Magna Defender figure. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Do you have more news, or was that it?
So that article branched off and very similar to what we've done in previous episodes of who would you want to be in the wave?
Oh, I see.
And it was funny how there was some overlap with us with American Only Rangers or Six Rangers, but it was nice to see now that we're, however many episodes deep we are in Action Activate, that other Power Ranger centric things are doing similar things, or we're doing similar things to them. So it was cool kind of doing that draft where I think you and I in episode like 3 or something were like, who would you want? And what's your top pick right now outside of Magna Defender of who you want for a future wave?
You're asking me this right now on the spot?
Absolutely.
I had an answer for this the other day because I was thinking about it and now it's flown out of my head. I mean, Blue Centurion, who just showed up, I would like him, but he's not my top pick.
He was on their list as well, along with Phantom Ranger.
Phantom Ranger would also be a high pick. Maybe. Oh, wow. What's yours?
Titanium.
Okay. Yeah, Phantom Ranger would be really high, and so would Blue Centurion. It's weird because I would love an RJ figure from Jungle Fury, but I'm right here actually. I have a vinyl that's very nice of RJ, and I have the vintage figure which is pretty good. So it's not. I love RJ. He's one of my favorites, but I have 2 pretty good figures of him already. So I'm thinking of who do I not have at all, or who doesn't even exist a good one.
I thought
Ninja would be good.
Ninja would be good. I was gonna say another that I would like that would also be cool for the comics to tie into both is a Lauren figure.
Oh yeah, Lauren Sheba. That would be nice too. In chat, Matt can declare tours are a charge. Magnus Defender transform. Just psyched up. Erzuki Ninjor, and we have a Ninjor like the big one, but having a 6-inch one that can interact with the Rangers, I would like that very much too. Make sure he says it the ways he says it. Ninjor. And Astronema. Oh, Astronema is a very good one.
That would be cool.
The problem is there's so many good ones. How do you narrow it down?
Who would your top villain be?
Babu, of course.
Mine, I would say Ecliptor.
Ecliptor's
he was one of my favorite villain toys as a kid.
Other than Babu, I would say Zanaku. And I like Ecliptor, but I have an Ecliptor figure. I don't think they even made a Zanaku figure.
They did, and it was a morphing Zanaku figure.
I haven't seen it, but I don't own it, so I need it.
He does a flip head to...
like the armored version?
No, it's the wolf, and then it flips to a ranger.
Okay.
And
yeah,
it's not in any way accurate at all. When you look at it, you're like, that's a cool gimmick.
The real Babu also thinks Babu would be a good one.
I agree. The one thing too that I like, and this is like a side tangent, is I really like when certain Rangers get.
Oh wait, I want to change my answer. Rita.
Okay.
We've never had a good Rita figure. We've had 1 or 2, and they were terrible. I want a good Rita figure. That's my number 1 pick. Sorry.
I'm curious how they would do the articulation.
I don't care.
I'm not saying they can't do it.
No.
I'm saying it would be a good challenge.
Even if from the waist down she barely moved, as long as she looked good and had all her little accoutrement and had her scepter, that's and I want her with a yelling face, like that's yeah. And the alternate head could be I have a headache.
Just
Yeah. So while arguably she's not even necessarily my favorite villain, it's a crime that we don't have a good Rita figure.
yeah.
Yeah. In chat real quick. Real Babu, yeah, Babu agrees. And then Matt Kendall-Clare said, like my ninja voice, Scorpina, Astronema for villains. Yeah, both of those would be good. Scorpina is another one that I don't think ever got a figure at all.
Yeah.
Akidragu would love Green Samurai Ranger. Yep, that's also a good one. He was my favorite from that show of that team. Matt Kendall-Clare, a good idea with Rita. Comes with a bottle of aspirin, says Babu. I like that. Matt Kendall-Clare, not a bad choice with Cam. And then my villain pick would be Jared from Jungle Fury. That's Akidragu. That's also a good one. But again, I have it's available. So like a lot of my picks, they're sort of like, has it ever been available? Do I own it? How much of a crime is it that it doesn't exist? So it's not literally just who are my favorite characters. But yeah. Wow, we're going pretty long. So I'm enjoying this. But yeah.
My final closing thoughts on the figure thing is it really, the more we meet people like Steve, the real Babu, I love when certain figures are made of their character because I'm like, oh, that means so many people are going to the booths with that figure.
Yeah.
Like
yes,
Psycho Rangers is the perfect example.
Yes.
I had no clue who those guys were and gals.
Yeah.
And then now that almost all of them, unfortunately, was made, it's like, oh, everywhere I look at a Ranger convention.
And you know what's interesting, though, to support your theory? They released all 3 male Rangers. They released the Silver Ranger, which was only in one episode, also a male, and the Green Ranger, that's comics only, also a male. They didn't release the 2 female Rangers, which is annoying. And all the Psycho Rangers that have actors either have or soon will be at conventions.
Mm-hmm.
The female actors I have not seen. And I don't know if that's because they haven't had figures or not, but that makes it even worse, because I saw one recently. I forget if it's Ranger Stop. One of the Power Ranger conventions come up. Either Power Morphicon, Ranger Stop. One of those has red, silver, black, and blue. All the male actors that exist for the Psycho Rangers, which all have figures. And I'm like, it's a Psycho reunion except for the 2 females. And I wonder if that's because they didn't get figures, which is and if Lightning Line puts them out, that'll be great, but they won't be in scale. And
the thing that frustrates me the most is it's not that there wasn't demand.
No.
And it's not that they couldn't get them out there. Like, that's the thing that frustrates me more than anything is people are paying $50+ for repaints of them.
Right.
But for some reason, Bandai's like, I don't want any more money.
And they were losing license, but they could have just quick made them. Airzuki says a Psycho reunion sounds like a fun party, and Real Babu says Ranger Stop Orlando is where they're going to have that. Right. So any more news other than that?
Not that I can think of, other than I am just counting down the moments until I see more reveals of Power Ranger stuff, both for the comics and for the toys at San Diego.
Agreed. I imagine I was there last year, and the only thing Hasbro had, because Hasbro always has a great booth and great panels, they had one of the original suits. I think it was the White Ranger original suit, one of them, and it had like a video display kind of saying, hey, we're going to have Power Rangers, and they had the Beast Morpher. Well, they weren't the real Beast Morpher suit actors, but they were actors in the Beast Morpher suits that were there that I got a picture with, which was fun, but that was it. That's all they had because they had just got the license. This year, I'm expecting like a full display with like something awesome looking in it. That aside, one other thing I wanted to throw out that I forgot from the episodes we watched, Friend in Need, there was a little piece of trivia that what was the evil daughter in Time Force? Nadira? Was that her name?
I believe so, yes.
There's an episode, and I found conflicting reports. One said it was Quantum Quest, one said it was Clash for Control. But either way, there's a Time Force episode where she's watching TV, and she's watching an episode of Masked Rider.
Really?
So, and my first thought was like, oh, it's like cross-promotion. But I'm like, no, because this was years after it was off the air. Yeah. But I guess they just still had the rights. Or like, hey, remember Masked Rider? And she's like just watching it for a second, like really into it, and then she has to go do something. But it's just like a fun little... Like, okay, well, they still are kind of in the same universe, I guess, maybe.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's it for me.
Okay.
Chat, I think we're all caught up, so I appreciate everybody hanging out, watching part 2, and our extra long news and chat session afterwards. Next week, I don't know what we're doing. stay tuned to the Facebook page, and
Yeah.
you know, maybe we'll let you know, or maybe you find it out. Dolly Girl, I think Ranger Stop is every year, and now they're doing Ranger Stop and Pop in Georgia, which I
Yeah.
think is might also be every year. So they definitely had it last year, and they're definitely having it this year. So you know,
Yeah.
that's I am probably not going, but not 100% not going. I'm definitely going to Silicon Valley Comic Con. I'm definitely going to San Diego Comic Con. There is a small chance I might go to Ranger Stop. If that changes, I will let you guys know, because I know we have some viewers like Dolly that actually are in Florida. I don't know how far it is from her, but you know, that'd be cool. But it's
Definitely closer than California.
certainly, and whether or not I or the Big Dog go, it is a good con that I recommend checking out. I got it. All right, so thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for all the chat engagement. Thank you for all the little trivia knowledge nuggets that you threw down. Thank you if you're watching it later on YouTube. Check out the Facebook page. Check out, you know, everything. And the more people we can get to subscribe and follow us and like and all that stuff, the more we could do. Maybe we'll make shirts eventually, but at the very least, we could maybe do more, whatever that means. And we don't have an interview lined up for next week, but I have been talking to a lot of people about doing some more interviews. No one I can announce yet, because none are 100%. But I will say some are well, they're all exciting. I don't want to make it sound, but some are surprising if they happen. You know what I mean? So we'll leave it at that. But we'll definitely have some more coming up in between. During the hiatus, we'll do more things like this. You know, maybe we'll do another review of an older episode. Not sure exactly what we're gonna do next week, but stay tuned and you'll find out with us. So until then, I'm gonna say goodbye. I am the Gazbot Knight.
I am the Big Dawg Defender.
And what are we saying? Are we saying action
To the
deactivate?
power.
Oh, to the power. To the power. Fine. To the power.
To the power.